Hey, good morning. I wanted to go live and talk with you guys. Oh, I might need to turn on a little bit of a light. I think we'll be okay. I just wanted to talk with you guys this morning about really tough questions that our children bring to us. There are so many times where children have deep questions and we're like, I have no idea what to say to that. And so I wanted to try to tackle one of these difficult questions. So sometimes children ask us, why would a good God allow evil and suffering to happen? And so that's a really good question. And we want to praise our kids for asking questions. The only way they're going to grow in their faith is by asking the difficult questions, because whether you have it or not, the answer is out there. And some things, the answers are only going to be determined between their relationship with the Lord. But this question is something that we probably talk about with our kids. So this is what I would say to a child asking that question. Why would a good God allow evil and suffering? But in order to answer this question, we got to go back. We have to go back to the original reason why we are even created on earth. And so God is perfect love, and love has to give of itself. He created us in his image. And so when you think about how mankind was created in the Garden of Eden, not only were men and women created to be able to do life with God and have dominion over the earth. If you look at Genesis 1:26, you can see those statements there, and especially all around that chapter. But here's what we want to explain is there were two trees in the Garden of Eden. There was a tree of life, and there was a tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And God said, you can have of anything, any fruit of this garden, but there's one tree I don't want you to eat from. Because surely you will die, and maybe not physically, ultimately perhaps, but also just the relationship will be broken. Sin would enter into the world. Here's what happens. Love put that tree in that garden because love gives choice. If God didn't put a tree where there is choice for man and woman, then he would not be perfect love. In fact, that would be almost like not a hostile situation, but it would be an environment where it's where there's no sense of relationship, and a relationship gives choice. It gives where you are able to have conversation and share of your heart and your thoughts. But for them to eat of the tree of knowledge and good and evil was basically saying, I want to rely upon myself to be able to determine what's right and what's wrong. I don't have to rely on relationship with God. And so that's what happens when people eat of that tree of knowledge and good and evil. And so why does evil and suffering happen? Because there's a couple reasons. One is because there is a fallen world. You know, it's not anyone's place to blame per se. It's just we live in a broken world. Ever since sin entered the world, it changed humanity. It changed creation. And so that's one reason why suffering happens, is because we just live in a broken, fallen world ever since the original sin was first committed in the Garden of Eden. And people who ask about, like, well, why was there even that tree? That's when you answer your children and explain to them, it's because love has to give choice. And so he wants relationship with us. He doesn't want to put us up like a puppet. It's not a relationship like that. He wants to have a deep personal relationship with each person. And so that's one reason. Another reason is just from our own consequences. So if I decide to I can't think of an example right now off the top of my head. If I decide to just ride a bike in the middle of a highway, I'm taking a really good risk. I'm going to hurt myself. And so that would be my own decision to increase that risk, right? And so if a consequence happens, is because of my poor decisions in my life. Now, sometimes, let's say I'm riding a bike on the sidewalk, but I get into an accident because a car was backing out of pulling into the driveway. Maybe they didn't see me. So sometimes it's because it's the decisions or consequences of somebody else, or just an accident, right? And so there's so many different reasons why the suffering is there. Now, here's the thing. God is a good God. He is so good that he gave his son to live the life that we should have lived, to break the curse of sin, but also to bring his presence to be able to live in each believer who's in a personal relationship with him. Because he doesn't want us to have suffering. He doesn't want us to have evil things on earth. And so he's actually equipped us to be able to destroy the works of the enemy, which is all the suffering that's happening around us. And so what we want to do is recognize that he has actually given us access to these things, but not everybody knows what that looks like. And so as you raise your children to explain these really difficult questions, help them with their theology, you're also equipping them as well and teaching them how to hear God and how to connect in a personal relationship with him. And and to be able to be filled with the Spirit of the living God, to be able to destroy the works of the enemy, to be able to pray for people and see things change. If this is something that you guys are interested in, we actually have a webinar that we do on a regular basis. And so I'm going to post the link in the comments after I hop off on this video, but it's really important that we teach our children how to hear God. This is such an important thing to have confidence in, to recognize what are the different ways that God speaks. How do I know the difference between his voice, my voice, or the voice of the enemy? Like, how do I know the difference? And then to be able to equip our children to be able to pay attention to their thought life and recognize when there's a thought that's not healthy, not good. We want to be able to teach our children how to take those thoughts and challenge them and replace them with healthy thoughts. Not just positivity, but truly the truth, to recognize how do I combat the different inner thoughts I'm having that's leading me to just having a really unhealthy inner life. And so I'm going to post the link for you guys in the comment section. If you have any questions whatsoever, you are more than welcome to reach out to us. You can message us on Facebook or send us an email at support@unveilingairs.com. We would be more than happy to give you resources for your family, just especially during this time that's going on all around internationally, as we are learning how to do life a little bit differently. It's especially an amazing time just to carve out moments where you're teaching your children and equipping them just about the good God that we have. So I hope this blesses you. I hope this helps you give some words to be able to speak to your children about these really difficult questions that we have. Once again, check out the comment section where I'll add the post on how you can sign up your kids for a live webinar coming up soon so that you guys can train your kids on how to hear God's voice confidently.